Hello all, welcome to another session in this course. As part of this session, I'm going to cover the next topic, that is functions with default values in JavaScript. So let's get started. The topic is functions with default values. So while calling a function, if you don't pass the arguments, and if that particular function that you are calling has some default values assigned to the parameters, in that case, the default values will be considered. But if you pass any arguments to that particular function, then the values that are being passed will be considered. So let me clear all this stuff with practical demonstration so that you will understand. For that, let me launch Visual Studio Code, and here in this Visual Studio Code, I'll create something, create a new JavaScript file. I'll say default, okay, default values, right? Default hyphen values dot JS. I'll just give a regular, some random name, okay? Then I would like to create a function name, whatever the name you want to give. And here, square brackets, circular brackets and curly braces and all those stuff. And here I'll give a is equal to 5, b is equal to 4. Okay. Generally, in traditional functions, we generally give a comma b. Okay. And this particular function parameters doesn't have default values. Okay. So in that case, how it will behave, let's see. A plus b if I see. And then here, if I call one a like this, it's not going to work. We need to pass some arguments, right? This particular parameters doesn't have any default values. So here, it's compulsory for you to pass the arguments in order to call this particular function. But if you don't pass the arguments and if you still run this code, will the function will be called or not? Let's node space default hyphen values dot js. You see, NaN, not a number kind of stuff is coming, right? But if you pass something like a 3 comma 2 like this, 3 will go into A, 2 will go into B, 3 plus 2 is 5 will be printed here. Just run this and you see 3 plus 2, that is 5 will be printed here. That's one thing, right? But here, what if I assign some default values like a is equal to 5, b is equal to 4, and here I'll not pass any arguments. In this case, what will happen? If you don't pass anything, earlier we got NaN when these parameters were doesn't having any default values assigned. But in this case, I have given some default values. I have assigned default values to these parameters. If you don't pass any arguments, by default 5 will go into A and 4 will go into B if you don't pass anything. So here, let me run this code. You see 9 got printed. That is, if you don't pass anything, A is considered as 5, B is considered as 4, 5 plus 4, 9 got printed. But if I pass something, that is 4 comma 2 if I pass, okay, in that case, default values will not be considered. If you are passing something, here 4 will be going into A and 2 will be going into B, 5 and 4 will not be considered. 4 plus 2, 6 need to be printed this time. You see 6 got printed. But if you don't pass anything, default values, okay, or if you pass only one value, what will happen? Into the variable A, 4 will go, and into the variable B, since you are not passing anything, 4 will go, 4 plus 4, 8 should come. You see, you got 8. Okay, like that, guys. So function parameters can be assigned with some default values. If in case when you are calling the function, if you are not passing the arguments, the default values assigned to the parameters will be considered in place of them. But if you pass the arguments will be considered over the default values. Okay. Now you can also convert this function into a arrow function. How do you consider this? Convert this function into arrow function? You can do like this. Const or let or whatever it is, one a is equal to, and here circular brackets, just copy paste these two items. Okay, then like this you put, and then console.log, you just put it here, put a semicolon, then you see I have completed this. I converted this into an arrow function. In this case, what will happen if I don't pass anything? If I call this function like this, so what will happen? Here A will be considered as 5, B will be considered as 4, and 5 plus 4, 9 will be printed. Let's see. 9 got printed, but if I pass something, 1, comma, 6 if I pass, A will be considered as 1 over 5, B will be considered as 6 over 4. So 1 plus 6, 7 will be printed, guys. 7 will be printed. You see, 7 got printed. And if I pass only 1 here, and if you don't pass anything into the B, so A will be considered as 1 over 5, but B will, since you are not passing anything into B, B will be considered as 4. 1 plus 4, 5 will be printed. You see, 5 got printed. So like that, guys, function parameters can have some default values. So hope guys you understood functions with default values in JavaScript. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello all. Welcome to another session in this course. As part of this session, I'm going to cover the next topic, that is varargs in JavaScript using REST parameters. We can create vararg kind of parameters for functions in JavaScript with the help of REST parameters. So let's get started. So the topic name here is REST parameters of functions in JavaScript will act like varargs. So how to use this REST parameters? Let me explain this with practical demonstration. For this, rest-demo.js I'll write, and here I'll create a function and function name, let's say fun A. And in this, if I create one parameter like A and write console.log of A, and if I call this, okay, this is a not normal function, traditional function, right? If I call this function A, I need to pass only one value. Here only one parameter is there, so I need to pass only one argument. Here only one argument I need to pass to this one parameter. Okay, if I run this code, clear, just give me a second. Then write node space rest hyphen demo dot js. You see, the argument 5 has been passed to the variable and the 5 got printed here. Now this is a normal parameter. What if in place of this normal parameter, if I use rest parameter like this with 3 dots followed by the parameter name will become a vararg kind of parameter, and this is called as a rest parameter in JavaScript. In this case, if you don't pass anything, while calling this function, also not a problem. This rest parameter will accept the values like it may be 0 arguments, 1 argument, 2 argument, any number of arguments, okay? There's no limit for how many arguments you want to pass, starting from 0. If you call this function with empty circular brackets without passing any arguments, an empty array will be passed here. To this rest parameter, what will be passed? Empty array will be passed. When you print this A, an empty array will be printed in the output console. Just see that first. You see, an empty array got printed in the output console. So what if I pass only one argument? An array containing a single element 5 will be passed to this rest parameter, like a vararg kind of stuff. And here when you print A, array containing single element will be printed. Now let me run this. An array containing a single element will be printed. What if I pass more values like, 5, 9, 7, 2, 8, 1, 6, like this if I pass, then clear this out and run this code and see that an array containing this many number of values 5, 9, 7, 2, 8, 1, 6. Okay. You see, ultimately when you call the function and pass some arguments, right? Those arguments will be passed to this particular rest parameter in the form of an array. Okay, it will be passed in the form of an array. What if I print something like a of 0? Okay, here A is like an array, right? If you pass this many number of elements, A is an array, right? And what is at the first index? Let's find it out. You see, 5 got printed. If I give A of 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 2 should be printed now. You see, 2 got printed. And what I can otherwise do here is I can convert this, you know, function containing this rest parameter as part of varargs, which will accept the arguments in the form of an array into a arrow function. How to convert this into arrow function? Here I'll write fun a const, or let you can write const fun a is equal to, okay, and here I don't have to give any function name or something. You can write like this, and if only one statement is there without semicolon, if you want to put, you just can write simple like this, right? In the previous sessions I covered about the arrow functions, right? Hope you get it. Okay, simple like this is enough. Okay, so what will happen in this case if I print a, all the elements which will be passed to this rest parameter in the form of an array containing all these elements. When you print it, array containing all the elements will be printed. Okay, so clear this out and run this code and see, array containing all these elements like 5972816 will be printed. It's an arrow function. In arrow function also, you can have the parameters as rest parameters where it can take no more than one value in the form of an array. Okay. The arguments can be multiple. Zero to many arguments can be taken in the form of an array. If zero parameters, zero arguments, empty array. If more than one, more than zero means array containing the elements. Okay. Now here I have some notes. Let's see if I have any other things to be covered here. Yeah, you can. I think I remember that what you have to do otherwise is you can also do something like this where, uh, you can, because you see when you are passing this particular elements, and these elements will be passed to this rest parameter in the form of an array of elements. And with arrays, what you can do, you can perform some operations here. That is, you can simply say a dot a dot reduce. One of the predefined methods that we can use with arrays I am going to use. Okay, a dot reduce, and inside the reduce, I'll write something like initial value. I'll give it as 0, guys. Initial value I'll give it as 0, and apart from the 0, what I have to give here, the current, you know, we have to give some arguments here, I'll say a comma c comma, okay, a comma c comma, then here I need to write down something that is okay, here I need to write down initial value is equal to 0. Now here I need to write an expression here that is so it will be returned, right? Whatever I am writing here, the reduce will convert this many number of elements into single element. Okay, how? So I just need to write a plus c. Let's see what will happen. So if I write something like this, guys, what will happen is initial value is 0, a will have 0, guys, then current element is what? 5 here in the array. The first element of the array is 5. So here 0 plus 5, c is 5 and a is 0. Initial value is 0. So 0 plus 5 will become 5. And now the callback function will be called, and current a will be like, the current a will be the result of this part, that is a plus c, that it will become how much? 5. And next is 5 plus 9, 14. Okay, it will become 14. This will become 14, and c will become 7. 14 plus 7, 21. Now this will become 21. 21 and then 2. 21 plus 2 will become 23. This will become total 23. 23 plus 8, 31. This will become 31. 31 plus 1, 32. Then 32 plus 6, 38. Okay, finally 38 should be returned here. Okay, 38 should be returned when you call that function. And okay, so that's what should happen, guys. That's what should happen when you call the function. Let r is equal to, if I write like this, and if I write console.log, okay, r, if I print r, what will be printed? Let's run this and see. Okay, there is an error coming. I did some mistake here. Okay, what is the mistake I have done? Let me check in my notes. The small mistake I have done. Why to waste the time? Maybe some syntax problem I have done. Did I reuse anything? Okay. Okay, I need to put that into the, sorry, I forgot. Okay. Here I need to put this into the like this. Okay. A, C, arrow function we have to give. Another arrow function we have to use here. Okay. In the reduce, we need to call this function. Okay. A, C and A plus P, C is the result. Okay. That will be returned. Now run this. Clear. Now we got 38, what I thought. Okay. So here I did a mistake. I just put a comma instead of the arrow function, guys. I forgot to use this. That's okay. Reduce function I covered in the previous sessions, guys. If you remember, you can use it properly. So here we have to put the arrow function, guys. Okay. These are the parameters. Okay. A will be the initial value of the A will be 0 and the result of this will become next time, and C will be the current element in that array. Okay, current one by one element it will, this particular arrow function will be called for each and every element of the array, and this will be done. So this is how we can also use this kind of methods. There are a lot of methods in that we can use with arrays like reduce, map and all those stuff. You can use any of them. Here I demonstrated only one. So with that note, we are done with this session, guys. So that's all for this session. See you in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.